Would you like to learn about enterprise architecture frameworks? If so, this video is for you. In today's video, we're going to discuss what is an enterprise architecture framework, some common enterprise architecture frameworks, and why we need enterprise architecture frameworks. So to begin, what is an enterprise architecture framework? It's really a structured approach that we can use to design and manage the architectures of our client organizations. And it gives enterprise architects a set of principles, a set of guidelines, and a set of methodologies that we use to align our IT infrastructure with the organization's key business processes and strategic goals. And ideally, this is not just for enterprise architects. Cloud architects can use these, AI architects can use these, network architects can use these architecture frameworks, because our goal in any architectural role is to improve our client's business performance. Now, why do we need enterprise architecture frameworks? Sadly, 70% of all technology architectures fail to provide any value to the business, which means the business is spending money on this technology and getting nothing for it, which means most technology projects actually hurt the organization. But when we properly align the organization's people, its processes, and technology, then magic happens for the business. And that's the whole goal of enterprise architecture frameworks. They help us understand the organization, plan the organization, and determine how we will execute changes in that organization in a systematic and a controlled manner, where we evaluate all components of the enterprise. So there are lots of frameworks for enterprise architecture. I'm going to discuss 4, and I'll go into detail, or at least some detail, about one of them, which will be TOGAF. So lots of frameworks. TOGAF is a widely used enterprise architecture framework, and it gives architects a methodology for developing an enterprise architecture. There's also a wonderful framework called the Zachman Framework. And again, that's another approach for organizing and analyzing an enterprise. Of course, if you were to work with the federal government in the US, they have their own enterprise architecture framework, which is called the Federal Enterprise Architecture Framework. And if you were going to work with the US Department of Defense, they have their own architecture framework as well. And that's called the Department of Defense Architecture Framework. So it's a structured approach to designing an architecture. I'll briefly talk about the TOGAF architectural development method, because that's one that I typically use with clients, and I've used it for many, many years. And I also teach it to our clients at Go Cloud Careers. And the TOGAF architectural development method is a set of steps to design the architecture to get your client's people, processes, and technologies all synced up for maximum business success. And it begins with a preliminary phase. And this is sort of a preparation and an initiation of the architecture project phase, which is time to kick it off and figure out where we want to go. And the next phase of TOGAF would say the architecture vision. And that's where we work with the clients to define the scope of the architecture, the vision and goals for the architecture, so we know what we're going to be designing for. The next phase of the TOGAF architectural development method would be involved in developing the business architecture, looking at how the business operates today and documenting it so we know it, and then planning with that organization and their key stakeholders how they want the business to operate in the future. And we need this because our technology must support that, the business processes of the future. Now, after that, we will look at the information systems architecture, which in TOGAF is more related to the data architecture and potentially even a little bit of the application architecture. And then after that, we will look at the technology architecture, and that is all of the organization's technology, the data center technology, the cloud technology, all the technology they're using. And after that, that's when we start looking for opportunities and solutions, identifying possible solutions and the build out phase, etc. And then after that, we will start with migration planning, which is where we really plan the build out. What kind of people do we need? Who we need? What needs to happen before what else along the project plan? And the next phase would be implementation governance. We architects have to work with that organization and their key stakeholders to get them to support and buy into the architecture to make sure it's successful. And typically the last phase of the TOGAF architectural development method is related to change management. We need to carefully plan any changes that occur to the systems, because a change in one part of the system could affect many other parts, and we need to know it ahead of time and plan it. So why does it all matter? Sadly, most architectures fail. McKinsey's data is that 70% of all technology projects fail. Now, that's pretty bad. But the reason is there's typically a misalignment between the technology in the organization and the business's actual needs. So if we align them correctly, we can really drive transformation with our architectures. A lot of it relates to efficiency. If we've got a clear roadmap and a solid set of steps, we won't do the same work multiple times. It will improve efficiency, and it gives us an opportunity to do it strategically each time. Architecture frameworks are also important for agility because we want that architecture that we design to be able to respond to that business's needs, whether there be new technologies that come out, say artificial intelligence and what it can do for business, or maybe the market conditions change. Maybe there's a recession, maybe there's a period of extreme growth, and we want to help those businesses deal with economic and market changes in a more systematic manner with more agility. And the last part that we really need to understand of why we use these architecture frameworks is communication. They foster better communication among stakeholders. They provide a common language and avoid misunderstanding. And that is absolutely critical because when we have two sets of people, or there are many people that all think a certain thing may mean different things, the results don't get us to our goals. So frameworks really help here. If you want to learn how to become an enterprise architect, a cloud architect, an AI architect, or a security architect, join us for one of our free webinars. And we have many free resources in the description of this video that can help you in your architecture career. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe, and hit the bell to our channel to be notified of new videos that we make to help you in your technology career. This is Mike Gibbs signing off for now, and I look forward to seeing you in another video soon.